Yay! I can't believe it. 4 days in a row. All right, let me just send out the stream. Live from Humane in NYC. Fourth stream in 4 days. Right? 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4. Yep, we did it. Ardra, Ardra, Ardra.
It's me.
It's you. Have you ever been on a live stream before?
I don't think so.
You know, this is new grounds for a lot of the people that I have on this live stream.
Yeah.
There's quite a few people who have never done any sort of like, not even like an Instagram live, you know, not even no sort of live anything. All right, let me just say hi to the peeps: Anthony, Amar, Jordy. My mother's in here. Hi, Mom. Danny, Harsh, Luther, Michael Flores, Anthony Young, Ramon, Alex, Kevin Hawthorne, Zarif, Timur, James, Diego, Nick Tolson, hello. Rory, Peter, Diego, love it. Hi, hello. What's the weather like in San Francisco? Well, guess what, Ramon? We're not in, what's the line? We're not in Kansas anymore. You want me to move over a little bit?
There we go.
You want me to position myself in such a way that I am centered in the frame? You got it.
Exactly.
You got it, Director Colin. Oh man, what a great 4 days it's been. There's a handful of people here in New York from the SF team, from the Humane SF team. Ardra is actually one of those people. Ardra, how you doing?
I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
I usually like to break the ice by asking, I'm not going to read comments. I'll read comments after. I just want to be focused and attentive to Ardra. Ardra, I usually start with asking, what did you eat for breakfast today?
I had a egg and cheese bagel.
Ooh, nice. From where?
Coffee shop. I think it was called Think Coffee.
It's
good.
What do you think of Think?
I like that they had decaf coffie.
Okay.
You drink decaf.
I drank caffeinated coffee for the first time yesterday in a long time, and I was like, I'm not okay. I
Wow.
was struggling.
Wow. So do you drink decaffeinated coffee for the taste of coffee?
Yeah.
Does it have any, placebo effects, you think?
I mean, it just makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
Okay.
And-
hence why you have this on your desk right now.
Good to have a hot beverage.
Okay. But is that a decaffeinated tea?
This is just like Rubus. Herbal. Yeah.
I've always I guess I don't know that I've ever gone for decaf coffee, but I can understand because coffee is good if it's not burnt, and then sometimes you just don't want that dosage of caffeine, So do you usually drink, you don't do caffeine usually?
I'll drink tea, but it's like a much smaller amount.
Got it. Is this something that's like a daily ritual in the office?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
It's nice.
Same. You just hit that little water boiler, wait 5 minutes, and like the same thing with me and the coffee every single morning. I'm like, cannot wait to make my mocha. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Ardra, welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
Ardra, without going into too much detail, what do you work on here at Humane? What's your role here?
Yeah, I'm leading the AI platform team. So we're responsible for a lot of intelligence features and bringing AI to the people.
Bringing AI to the people.
To the people, man.
Very hot topic right now.
Yeah, and it probably will continue to be a hot topic for the next long while. So, Ardra, what I like to do here is rewind the clock as far back as you want to go, because it's interesting to hear from all of our colleagues how everyone got eventually to Humane.
Yeah.
So take me back. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah. I grew up on like 100+ acre farm in Southern Virginia with like horses and would like wander around in the woods. I went on like a dance retreat recently, and there were like wood stoves in the yurts, and they were like, who knows how to build the fire for the wood stoves? And I was like, so nostalgic. It made me so happy. Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So this farm was like your parents had this just giant farm.
Yeah.
And as a child, you just got to go explore.
Yeah.
Did you ride horses?
Yeah.
Sick. Like competitively?
No. Much more casually. We had a couple horses that we like rescued who would like were older, like an ex-barrel racer or something, and then one that we raised from like a baby. So we got her when she was like 6 months old, and then she like grew up with us.
How majestic is it watching horses gallop? It's such a simple thing, but seeing and hearing the hooves stomping, and it's just like, because in New Jersey, where I'm from, and my mom will definitely be typing part of this probably, we lived on a 3 acre piece of property, but next to us, like there was just like a small fence dividing us with the neighbors, and they had horses. And so they would run. And then our little dog, Charlie, our little tiny Shih Tzu, would run with the horses.
Aw.
So yeah, I have fond memories of horses growing up. Did you ever, like, in your sort of going around the woods exploring, did you ever find anything cool out there?
There was a really great like swimming hole that you had to like find quite the right path to, and then you could like kind of like go. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. And there were days when it would be really, really hot, and then you would just kind of like sneak out there and like dunk in the water.
Wow. And this is like a what's the word I'm thinking of? Not a salt water, but like a freshwater.
Yeah, there's like a
stream.
little creek, and then there's like a little like kind of like
Sick.
reservoir, and then there were like crayfish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Sick. So then how did you find yourself? How did you find yourself doing software?
Many years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
You went to school in Virginia?
I went to school in Rhode Island.
Went to school in Rhode
so I like
Island.
sort of worked my way up the East Coast.
Okay.
I went to Brown, and I actually started out when they were like, "What would you like to do? What would you like to major in?" And I was like, "International relations, drama, and cognitive science." And so I like got into computer science like my second year as a requirement for. So I actually started out studying like the human mind and like what it's capable of in terms of memory and attention and like how like structurally things work. So it's like kind of a layer below psychology, but above neuroscience. So it kind of touches both of those.
Whoa. Was this something that you were interested in because of your upbringing or childhood, or?
Maybe. I think I'm just really interested in people and like how we all work. I'm really interested in systems. I got into video games when I was probably like 12 or so.
Sick.
It was my first time at Target, and I found like the Morrowind Game of the Year edition. And I took that sucker home and I played it for hundreds of hours, just like
Sick.
absolute hundreds. And like those like open world exploratory adventure games like really spoke to me.
Because you literally did that as a child.
Yes, in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your first gaming console as a kid?
I think we had like the old Nintendo like cartridges when I was like really little, but that was kind of my brother's thing.
The
I had,
NES?
I think so.
Super Nintendo?
I was so small that
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I had a Game Boy that was like mine, and so I would like actually wander. I remember the power being out one day and like wandering around with the like fallen trees and just like catching the Pokemon and being like, this is the life.
Which
like,
Pokemon?
Gold.
Ah, Pokemon Gold. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you? I'm trying to remember. Oh God, I have to dig deep for this because, like, specifically in those games, because I think Pokemon Gold only let you catch Ho-Oh, and then with Silver was the way you got.
Articuno?
No, I thought it was Lugia, maybe. I don't know. We need a
I don't know.
Pokemon
We
expert
need
to
a Pokemon
chime in
expert,
here.
yeah.
But it's crazy how so many people like in our sort of age range, like Pokemon was a fundamental part of so many people's childhoods, and it's still unbelievably relevant today.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were playing video games as a kid, and that gave you exposure to like technology.
Yeah, in a funny way, it like that and my desire to download music without getting a bunch of viruses led me to actually install like dual boot Linux on my laptop during high school.
Okay, so
And
here's where it gets good.
That's where it
Okay.
started going.
Okay.
I was like copy pasting commands into a terminal that I absolutely did not understand and just like kind of doing that until it worked. But it was like kind of funny to be like years later be like, I guess I was doing this.
Whoa.
Like
So when
like,
you were
yeah.
in high school,
Yeah.
you were a little bit of a nerd when it came to computers in general. Like, were your friends also, dual booting into Linux? And
I think I was just really music motivated, and like I had like friends like that, and so I was like, okay, this LimeWire thing is really wrecking my life over here.
yeah.
But the internet told me that I can't get viruses on Linux, so I'll give it a shot. And I think I was just very scrappy about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
What kind of music back then? Didn't we? I feel like we had a quick conversation in the
Yeah.
office the one day when I was wearing a Mars Volta shirt, maybe.
I don't know. I just
Or
stopped
something.
and I was
No.
like, were you a scene kid?
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. I was like, "What's up, Ardra?" You were like, "Were you a?" And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely shopped at Hot Topic as a kid, and definitely listened to System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine and Tool."
Yeah.
What music for you?
I think, so I had a brother who was 8 years older than me, and so I was like very influenced by his music tastes. And so I remember there was like, it was so eclectic. Like he gave me my first little MP3 player, like pre-iPods that had the little thing in there. And he was like, hey, listen to it. And like Bad Touch was the first song on there. And I was like, oh, you know, like a little 12-year-old being like, oh my God. But also, you know, like Limp Bizkit covering like Faith by George Michaels.
Wow,
But also
Limp
like Billy
Bizkit.
Joel and, you know, lots of that stuff. So,
So-
really, really could be absolutely anything.
And is music today still something that you hold near and dear to your heart? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you always listening to music, discovering new music?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of music. I have a piano. I got a drum set. I like play in a band with friends. Like it's big. It's big. I sing a lot. It's a big part of my life.
Whoa! I had no clue. Wow, you play piano?
Yeah.
Sick. Okay. Well, we should jam sometime because I also play the piano.
Oh, cool.
Wow, I had no idea. See, this is why I do these kind of things. Okay, so no computer science classes in high school at all. That wasn't even a thought.
No.
Was the idea of computer science even in the realm of?
So I went to an all-girls boarding high school in Southern Virginia with like 130 people, and like, so there was a lot in the curriculum, but like computer science just was really not on the radar of basically anyone that I knew. Wow. And so it was really interesting getting to college and being like, oh, this is a whole different world, and people have been doing this for a very long time, and like I feel really stupid. And so it was interesting how much the culture of that computer science department actually was what made me feel like I could do it.
So Brown has a good computer science program.
Yes, it has a really incredible one, and also a very inclusive and interesting one. So there are a couple tracks for like the intro sequence, but in one of them, like the first day, they do this big elaborate skit where they like the entire TA staff, which was like at this point is like 20 to 40 people, make huge fools of themselves with like a bunch of CS jokes and concepts sprinkled in and like at kind of the big selling point being like, listen, computer science, it'll make you feel pretty stupid and it's kind of scary, but like, you know, 70% of us never coded before we took this class, and like you can do it and we will help you.
So it was a warming icebreaker in a sense.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like, okay, cold turkey, open up a terminal and start to, it was, yeah.
Because like I think people have this idea of the like lone wolf engineer 10x coder person, but like building anything is like, it's such a communal effort. Yeah. Like software is a team sport, like no question.
What was the class? Like a 100 level Java?
Yeah, CS13, Java, you like built games. So like you kind of like worked up in progress.
Like Solitaire?
Like Tetris and like Pac-Man. Yeah.
You built a version of Pac-Man.
Yeah.
As a freshman at Brown.
Yeah.
So that was your intro to computer science.
Yeah.
Notice how it's like video games. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I think I think it's important in life to remember to play.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing.
I feel like there's, and that comes in all sorts of different forms. You know, some people like, you know, laying on the beach. That's their form of play or vacation. You know, like it's important to just like do something that isn't necessarily work, but still like gets your brain really going. And
yeah, and to kind of mix those two things together such that like, I mean, you're building this thing, you're in like the computer lab with your friends and you're struggling and then there's a bug, but then you like fix the thing and then you play it and check. And then the thing works, but like another thing breaks. But you're kind of like able to switch between like having fun and like really focusing, and it helps alleviate some of the stress and helps you remember like life isn't so dark as this windowless room.
Oof. Was it a literal windowless room?
It was called the Sun Lab. It was full of Sun Microsystem computers.
Wow.
And there were zero windows.
Literally no sunlight.
None,
wow.
yeah.
Was Brown your top choice for school?
Yes. I like lost my shit when I got in.
Yeah. I asked, I think it was Anika yesterday. I like,
Duke, when she got into Duke.
Yeah, I like asking, like, do you remember the moment? Did you apply early decision?
No, I did not.
Did you apply to other schools?
Yes. Yeah.
And Brown was the top choice?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember the moment, Ardra?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
I gotten into, we were like, I think it was the fall play, or maybe it was the spring play. We were like doing a drama show, and like my little sister went to the same school as me, and we're super close to this day.
High school?
Yeah, same high school. She was like 2 grades below me.
Okay.
And so we were like doing this play and whatever, and then I was like, had been checking the thing all day because the website had been down because everyone's, you know, obsessively trying to get the results, and my other friends had already been like, oh, I didn't get in, okay, whatever. And I was like, okay, I probably won't work out. And then I found the result and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, trail me. My sister, and we were just like, I don't know, like ran screaming and like, yeah, it was like very.
And that was during the school day.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was like, I think it was in the evening, but like we were like doing this like play practice, yeah, or rehearsal.
Tell me about these extracurriculars that it's like video games, urban exploration, it's singing, piano playing. What else, Ardra? Aside from AI systems here.
I was really into ceramics. I took like our ceramics class, I think probably 6 times, and built like a bunch of stuff, including this like dragon teapot. I was very into dragons as a kid, and so like the spout like breathed steam, and the lid had wings on it, and the tail was like a handle that went up and around. And then I made this like big wildebeest skull looking thing out of like clay that I like dug up, and like you like rub it in a certain way. Anyway, I was like very into ceramics also, and then yeah.
This was a class in high school.
Yeah.
That you were able to take 6 times?
Yes.
Was it the same teacher?
Yes.
Ardra, welcome back. Welcome back. Did it get more advanced, or you're just sort of,
They gave me like more ideas and like funky techniques. Pit firing is something you can do where you take the finished thing and then you basically throw it in a trash can with a bunch of like shredded paper, and it'll puts like very cool patterns on it.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was going for the wasteland in The Lion King.
Yes.
I wanted to like make a skull that looked like it came out of there.
And so that means you know how to like sculpt, and then like the process of like, don't you have to like bake it and then you like glaze it or put like the I did something like that in high school also, but you just got so dirty. You know, like it was just, there was that gray clay water everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you do pottery these days?
I did for a little while. It hasn't spoken to me in the same way recently because it isn't communal, and I think have my life been more focused on like things that connect me to people and like to nature.
Yeah. How do you think video games are then?
I haven't played video games as much. I played Hades last year for like.
Wow, George was just ranting and raving about Hades. Well, yeah, when I walked to get bagels with him yesterday, he was like, "You got to play this game. It's so much fun." Why?
Well, that one, I mean, people love progression and learning.
It's just like a human characteristic.
Yeah, but I love it at least. But it's a roguelite, which I never played before. But basically, you're always trying to get from the beginning to the finish line, and if you like die in between, you just go back to the beginning.
You go back to the beginning?
And you lose all of your like power-ups, basically.
So then you don't want to die.
Well, of course you don't want to die.
Wow, that sounds really hard. That would be like if you're playing the original Super Mario, like you have 3 lives, and then you go back to the beginning.
Wait, is this the top-down, like?
Yes, yeah, you're looking
where
at it
all
from
the
above.
mobs coming from every angle?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you're like getting
so
Have you played?
I've seen people play. I've
Okay.
seen a lot of people play.
Yes, it is. It's the whole thing. But anyway, it plays with mythology, and you're like the son of Hades who has a bad relationship with him. So you're like breaking out of there, and the gods are helping you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What system did you play on?
Just a PC.
You got a PC?
I'm a PC gamer.
Have you played this game called Valorant?
No, but I hear tell.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Morrowind, and then Oblivion, and then Skyrim came out, and I played it. It came out, and I started playing it over winter break, my first year of college, and I was like, Ardra, you get to play this for 1 month, and then you gotta stop.
Yeah, because
just like this shit will take over your life.
Yup.
Did you start playing Morrowind on a console though?
I've like only ever played on PCs basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd started with Morrowind too, but it was on Xbox, and then after that forward, it was PC for me. That was the thing that kind of turned me over to PC gaming forever.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how everyone's exposure to video games is so unique and different, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but it's all in the same vein of like, just like taking your mind out of, you know, your current reality and sort of like embedding yourself in this world.
Well, it became so meditative because I could, like, you just can go into a flow state. And so times when I was like, you know, in a really stressful place, I found that was like really just like restorative.
Yeah. So no time for video games these days.
I might play. I'm gonna play some like co-op games with my sister because she like lives across the country. But I'm trying to like spend more time like connecting with people.
With people in real life and like singing in a band and
Yeah, I hope so.
maybe going back to pottery. Okay, let's go back to school.
Yeah.
So you're taking CS, a CS class. Was it scary? Was it hard? Did it come to you in the same way pottery came to you?
Well, so it was funny. Like I think a lot of things came to me when I was young and I was like good at learning stuff. And so the first year of college coming in, I'd kind of prepped myself to be like, listen, Ardra, you were a big fish in a small pond and everyone's going to be smarter than you and you're going to have to get used to that. And
Meaning like your hometown in Virginia.
Yeah, like I was very used to being like the smartest kid wherever.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, this is going to be kind of a different situation. And I was really looking forward to that, but I was also a little scared. But it was interesting. I took computer science the like second semester, I think, or the second year maybe. But it was funny after taking cognitive science and other classes. I was like, I could challenge myself a little more. Like,
whoa,
this has been fun. But like, I was like, these kids are smart, but like we are like we're all human.
Yeah.
And so I think computer science spoke to me in a way where it was actually genuinely challenging and you couldn't just like pull a paper out of your ass at like the last minute. And like I had to be accountable to my work in a totally different way.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I mean, there's courses you can take that you can pull things out of your ass last second, but like unless you're just copying someone's code, you just can't do that.
And when I built those things, I was like, I know how this works. And like, I really struggled the first semester. Like there were TA hours that you could go to. And I remember just like the simplest thing and being like, I don't get it. And just being like pretty emotional and pretty upset. And the person, the TA being like very kind to me.
Oh,
and like that really spoke to me. And it also, like I went on to TA and like head TA and like lead organizing the class. And I think mentorship has always been a really important piece of like learning and like getting meaning from like whatever is a struggle.
Because you were in the situation of the people that you now get to help or that you did help in school.
Yeah, and empathy comes really naturally when you were there 6 months ago.
Wow. But then you pick it up really quickly and then you can give back, right? You're like, I don't understand this computer science stuff. Let me just, keep working at it. And then 6 months later, you're a TA.
Yeah.
Okay, so Java first, Python, C. What was the progression?
Yeah, Java. There was like a C systems class. We used Python for like data and algorithms type things.
Did you take any like operating system classes? Anika was saying, or I think it was Anika or Evie was saying how hard that one was.
I took like the baselines OS, but I didn't do the one where there's kind of like a famous class at Brown that you like build an operating system from the ground up. I did not do that one. It seems extremely fun, but like the career, I think industry growth isn't there. Like there are a lot of really great systems programmers that come out of Brown, and there are like 4 companies that they all work at. Because there's just like, it's kind of limited. My favorite class that I took was programming languages. And then like also like formal verification. So how do programming languages get built? How does the theory of them work? How do these things that you're writing get evaluated? Like Python.
Because someone or a group of people, like someone created the language, which is like really insane to think about because the language is the language in and of itself. But then someone had to sit there and like create all these parameters and decide what means what.
Yeah, and it's written using other programming languages is the thing.
So give me an example of one that you took. Like what were one of the like you took this class that had you understand the fundamentals of a programming language? Like what?
Yeah. So evaluation is one thing. So when you let me think of how to explain this.
Explain it like I'm a 5-year-old.
Also, like it was like 10 years. It was a while ago.
Dig deep in there, Ardra.
Yeah. So one thing that's important about programming languages is how quickly they execute. So
like how fast the system can read.
Yes.
And then like spit something out for you.
Yes.
Huh.
So one of the reasons people will use C or C++ in high performance code is because it executes much faster than Python does.
And that is a function of the kernel or the...
Yes. I mean, there are a lot of things that go into it, and I'm not like an expert in all of those, but C is like lower down the stack. And there are like fewer layers of indirection and more direct access to memory, which means you can do things directly much more quickly, but you can make more mistakes. So like Java has its own, Java has like built-in memory management. So it does like, it cleans up the memory for you. Whereas like C, you like allocate the memory, you use the memory, and then you clean it up.
And that's part of writing in C is you have to be aware of how much you're storing in memory.
And like where you put stuff. Otherwise it'll just sit there forever.
Oh my
and that's
God,
like that's a memory leak.
That sounds very difficult.
Yeah.
Wow. Did it get harder and harder for you in school?
I think it was probably the beginning was the hardest
Oh, that's great.
for me. I mean, like it's not that the classes became easy, but like
Yup.
I developed like confidence and like capability and was like, I've been stressed and scared before, but also like I can do this and like I have my whole community.
So you were tapping friends, TAs, professors, like to get help and teach you these sort of things.
Or we're just like all sitting in the computer lab together and like trying to write malloc, which is like was the big project for like the kind of systems class, which is allocate memory. So you're like we were writing the function that allocates memory.
And is that super low level?
It's pretty. I mean, it's like yes, it's pretty low level.
Is it machine code?
We had assignments that were in assembly.
Oof.
But like I don't think that was one of them. Yeah. Well, because like programming languages are written in themselves after a certain point. You like write basic concepts and then you use it to implement itself, which is crazy.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. At what point, Ardra, in your college career, did you narrow the focus on computer science? Because you said you went in for 3 different things, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually like doubled in cognitive and computer science until like the last semester.
You double majored in cognitive science, brain things, and then computer science.
Yeah.
Do you have the degree in both, or you?
So there was like one more class that I would have had to take, and I like went to the first day of it, and I was like, "This is a terrible class for cognitive science." And I went with my friend who had been like my major buddy for cognitive science and like my roommate for part of the time, and she was like, "Please don't leave me," and I was like, I'm sorry, bro. Like no one can, because like the nice thing about the academic advisors at Brown was that if you were like, oh, I'm thinking of double majoring, they'd be like, don't do that.
They know the reality.
Just take a bunch of classes and like say you minored. We don't have minors, but just like no one cares.
Yeah. So you minored in cognitive science.
Yeah, or like
or
who
all
cares?
but major, or just who cares?
Yeah, I think one of the great things about Brown in terms of the curriculum, there are no requirements outside of your major. You can take anything pass fail, and there's shopping week.
Hold on. Okay, Brown's requirements to graduate. How many credits total?
I think you probably need like it's either like 20 or 30 credits, but like you have to complete a major, which is between like 9 and like 18 credits. Or something.
So you need a major but no minor.
Yeah.
And were there gen ed requirements?
No, there are no gen ed requirements.
God. I guess like it's a very good school, so they probably trust that like, you don't need to come to Brown and spend time on expository writing or
like the helpful thing is from like a values level, like you don't have to take classes that aren't meaningful to you. There's nothing more depressing than being in a class with people who don't want to be there and a teacher who doesn't want to be teaching like resentful students.
Oof. Yeah.
And like there was shopping week at the beginning of each period, like each semester, so you could go to literally any class that you wanted to, and then you like decide at the end what you're going to take.
That is ridiculous in the best way possible. You get to try the different classes before you commit to them.
Yeah.
I remember at Rutgers, it was hell to get your schedule. It was like, oh, you want to get that 10:30 with that professor and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like, you got to go around and sample. Like, that is amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when you were like, was it your first choice? Like, in some ways, like, I had never been in, it was one of my first tastes of like, this is what it can feel like to be in a value-aligned place. Where like it is the way that it is because it cares about the same things that I care about and the other people here do too.
How did you know that Brown was such a welcoming school? Did you go visit?
I went on a tour.
You went on a tour.
And like, I couldn't tell you what facts that they told me, but I knew. And
felt
I
it.
just knew on some level. Like, there was something about the tour guide. And it was funny. My little sister, I love her so much. And she can be kind of a grouch. And she did not like any of the other schools that we dragged her around to go see. But she was like, this one, like, you should go to Brown.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a common thread, at least for this week of guests that I've had, that it seems like everyone had their, there's like moments in school, like the first time you're exposed to computer science, the TAs that you remember, like it's pretty wild how much of an impact, like they're not subtle or small things, but just like, yeah, if you would have had a shitty teacher or something, it could like change the whole experience for you. You know?
100%.
So crazy, so. And like for me, I like college for me was just like, whatever. Like, I guess at Rutgers, to your point, Ardra, like there were so many classes that we had to take to fill the gendered requirements, and no one wanted to be there. And you feel it,
Yeah.
Everyone's on their computers playing video games, doing whatever. The professor doesn't even want to be there. Yeah. Is it a smaller school? How many students go to Brown?
I think it's like 2,000.
Yeah, small.
Maybe 4,000. Yeah, 4,000.
What was your path after graduation? Did you have any internships during school?
Yeah, so what did I do? I worked in like a couple of like on-campus jobs, and like the graphics lab one year, I worked in, I had a job in one of the libraries in the propaganda archive one year. That was pretty fun. And then I worked at Zynga the summer after my junior year, which was a bit of a zoo.
Wow. Doing programming.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it a sweat to get an internship during school? Like, were you like, I need a job, I need to get an internship? Was it required for Brown to go get experience and have it count toward your degree?
It wasn't required, but they had like a mandatory student contribution of like money. So you had to, and like.
What does that mean?
So there's like a financial aid program. They meet like 100% of financial demonstrated need. I was on like a full scholarship. It's like need based because they're like, it was really really great.
Yeah, that school is probably not cheap.
No. No. But they were like, there's a mandatory student contribution where you have to like give us $3,000 every year of like that like you've contributed. So you have to like earn money over the summer to give to them.
Like driving a sense of responsibility to some degree.
Yeah.
Like having you get exposed to the real world of like, yeah, you're in college, but hey, you need to go get a job and figure out a way to make money.
Yeah.
And then give it to the school.
Yeah. Which I think for people who, if they're trying to go into publishing and like get an unpaid internship, which is like the only option, becomes a lot more stressful if their parents aren't very wealthy. But that's a problem you also have in the real world.
Yeah. So graduating with a computer science degree, what was the focus, the specialty? Was it just like a general? Because and we were talking about this with the other guests, like there's a difference between software engineering and computer science, right? So like what was your sort of, is there a difference? And then like what was your specialty?
Yeah, that's a good question. Weirdly, like leadership was my specialty. I was very involved in the TA program. So I TA'd the first and second half of the intro course. I head TA'd the like one of the intro course, and then also a formal verification class called Logic for Hackers.
Like logic gates?
Sort of like based on that. So the idea is you can like model things and then like test whether the system is going to work. So it was like that, like I love the programming language stuff. It was a lot of different things, but I was very invested in the TA culture and like learning how to like work with teams. I hired a team of like 35 people for this class. So I interviewed like 100 people for that and then like organized them for a semester and a half to like write all of the lectures, rewrite all of the labs, do all of the TA hours.
You reconfigured class at Brown?
Yes, with like my co-head TAs and like an army.
For the people that are listening that keep hearing the word TA, it's teacher's assistant.
Yes.
For people that don't know.
Yes, indeed.
What made you want to do that, Ardra? That sounds like so much work.
Yeah, I mean, so learning. Like,
Okay. But like, it's one thing to, get what you get out of a class and go to the office hours, but then to go to the other side,
Yeah.
but not just be a TA and help people. It's like, we're going to, restructure this
Yeah.
just because you wanted to.
yeah.
And did they take what you did and
Yeah. Yeah, like builds on the course like the teacher like helps, but like the students are writing all of the lectures for these classes. Like they're it's an extraordinary computer science department.
just so I understand, you're telling me the students are helping teach the courses?
Yes.
That's epic.
Yeah, and it's an
Wow.
extraordinary learning opportunity. Like you think you know something when you learn it, you know something when you've taught it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like how to know if you know something. Explain it to someone.
Yeah, in like a really clear way.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to my question about the specialty, where did it like leadership? Yes, but from a programming perspective.
I kind of came away weirdly feeling like I was a fraud and like I didn't have depth in any area, and I was like, what is my identity? Like how do I felt a little unprepared in many ways.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But here you are at Humane doing AI things.
Yes.
After graduation, where'd you go?
Startup called Delphix.
Delphix.
Yeah.
What is Delphix? You see what I did there? Cringe.
Whoa. No, there's the like, is it a startup, a 2010 startup or Pokemon quiz? Which if you find it, it's hard to get them right.
Yeah.
Easy
I
to
feel
get
like
them
there was
wrong.
another one that was like, it was something like former president's wife's last names or Pokemon. Something like
Oh, wow.
random or like
funny.
senators' names or Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to your point,
Yeah.
Delphix.
Delphix. Yeah. They did like data virtualization. So like Git for data. And then
Where was that?
it was in San Francisco. Coming out of graduation, I was like choosing I had like offers from Google and from the startup, and it was like going to be like Google in New York or like the startup in San Francisco.
And you chose San Francisco.
I did.
It's over. We're out. Browns where, you said?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Okay, so you were on the East Coast
Yeah.
and like also Virginia. So you wanted to get a taste of California.
Well, I went out there for my internship at Zynga like after my junior year summer.
Facebook had owned them at the time, right?
I don't think so.
Did Facebook ever own Zynga, or am I thinking of
I don't
something
think
else?
so. Farmville was like huge on Facebook.
That's what. Okay, that was the connection I was
Yeah.
drawing. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had your taste of California.
Yeah. And I was like, this is the most fun I've ever had. This is
Sick.
so fun.
So you went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So moved across the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your role there?
Software engineer. I was building, what was I building? I was working on, we had like integrations for different types of databases. So I was working on the Oracle team, and I rewrote the like host discovery. So it was like, there was a lot of networked machines, and the way that you like attached those machines, which were hosts for the code, was there was like a bunch of like a bag of bash scripts that you ran on them, and it was basically it was very difficult to read and like test to like see if things were healthy. So I like refactored it, made it very stable, and yeah, kind of re-architected that system.
How long were you there?
2 years.
And what made you jump ship?
I didn't have meaningful work anymore, and I was like struggling to like I'd started out with a great manager, and I'd like ended up kind of feeling left by the wayside of like being like I want to contribute, I really want to do something, and I want I want to feel recognized, and I just like didn't have that direction. Or like feel, and I also came to realize that like the company's mission was very important to me, and these were interesting problems, but like that wasn't enough.
Were you able to hone any of your leadership qualities and skills at that role, or you're just straight up software engineer at Delphix?
I tried to, but it wasn't like the right place to do so, and I think that's part of why I ended up leaving.
Where'd you go?
A place called Forward that does like health.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that like futuristic new age
Yes.
doctor thing?
Yes.
Have you seen those ads on YouTube?
No.
You don't know, you know what that is? Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
They're here in New York, I feel like.
They're like
right?
everywhere now,
Yeah.
it seems.
Is it technically telehealth or no?
They have offices that you go to.
They have offices
And they, like,
that you go
employ
to, but the whole
doctors.
thing isn't the whole thing like you just like walk in, you don't need to do any paperwork or anything. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
You just move forward with. See what I did there? Also, I'm gonna stop. Also, software engineer there.
Yes.
Yeah. Doing similar things that you were doing before, or learning new things.
Always learning new things, but it was definitely a much scrappier startup where they were like really focused on getting the product out the door, but there was like a lot of technical debt, and so it was like chaotic and hard to find my place there in a lot of ways. But
Was that also in San Francisco?
Yes, yeah. I've like worked in San Francisco since graduation.
Wow.
But I worked on automating their blood work pipelines.
Whoa. And these are systems that you have a foundational understanding of because you majored in computer science. But then there's probably a lot that you have to learn specifically about how their architecture is structured, right?
Yeah, and also just like how to be a software engineer. Because school does not teach you how to interact with a giant code base written by 100 other people.
Unpack that.
So in school, there's a very clear assignment. It has...
Make Tetris.
Yeah, it has a beginning and an endpoint and like intermediary directions and like a clear right answer. And you're starting from scratch each time, and you know when you're done. And you don't have to maintain the code, and no one else is going to use the code.
It just has to, you press enter and it works.
Yes, and no one else is going to be modifying it.
And as soon as you add one person to the mix,
Yeah.
as soon as you add 100 people to the mix, it becomes a whole new set of, yeah.
No
Okay.
one's like set up all of the nice architecture so that like this will be easy for you to do so that you can focus on just the concepts. No one's like, oh, we'll have some nice concepts for you to learn. They're just like, we have a problem and we'd love for you to fix it.
Ardra, I'm kind of surprised that you're not at Brown right now teaching.
Oh man.
Have you ever considered, maybe later in your career going back to school and teaching?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
you already did it once, right?
Yeah.
You were already a TA.
Yeah, PhDs take a long time to get.
Oh, that's right. You have to get a PhD.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the thing here in the States, at least? In order to be a college professor, you have to get a PhD.
It does seem to be the case mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that requires a lot more school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so still in San Francisco, at Forward, Humane next? Question mark?
Cruise.
Cruise.
Yeah.
We have yet to do it.
Yeah, we haven't written in one yet. We have like invites and stuff. But
I have a viral TikTok that has 2 million views
Okay.
of a cruise
Oh wow.
driving around.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was its name?
Everyone asks me when not everyone. The people that have
Yeah.
that like
No.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, what was the course
Was it
name?
Dumpling?
I feel like I've seen Dumpling actually. I can look. I have my
Yeah.
phone's out there.
Yeah. No, it's just a cute question.
What a crazy thing, Ardra. I feel like, and tell me if you agree or disagree, 99% of people have no idea that self-driving, fully autonomous vehicles exist right now today.
Yeah. I mean, like that you can pay to get around in.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying. They're not just
roaming around Arizona.
They're not just like demo concepts. You have an app that is like Uber, and you get picked up in a damn car that has no one in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
You worked on some of the self-driving things?
Yeah. I worked on the like simulation and testing frameworks.
Whoa. How long were you at Cruise?
2 years.
Wow, that must have been way different than the other sort of database work, I guess, from the other companies you were working at, right?
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
no?
well, so I think the kind of common thread in my career is systems and like distributed systems and a lot of pieces that are working together.
When you say systems, like how this is going to sound really elementary, but how the whole thing works.
Yeah, all the like boxes and arrows and how they talk to each other, especially over network, like distributed systems.
Especially over a network.
Yeah, so like there's an operating system that's like kind of within itself, but like a distributed system is a bunch of different computers.
So the core operating system, the local one, needs to know how to talk to the systems everywhere, and then also like take that data, pull it back, and mix it around and just redistribute it. And I'm gonna make food analogies, whatever. But like, yeah. You've been in the Cruise then.
Yes.
I have access, but I have yet to do it
between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think by 10 p.m. I'm usually asleep.
Yeah.
And then it's not like the full scope of SF
Yeah.
yet. Where was I? I feel like, where was I recently? Oh, I think it was in Austin. I think they're rolling out in Austin now too.
Oh, wow.
Because I remember when we were at South by, we were driving somewhere and I looked left and there was just like a parking lot full of them. And I was like, oh wow, I guess Cruise is coming to Austin. They're in San Francisco. They're in Arizona, right? I feel like they're in Tempe, Arizona. Or maybe
Are
that's
they?
Waymo.
That's Waymo.
Waymo's
That's
in Arizona.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's just seemingly, well, Zoox, I think Argo, Cruise and Waymo. But Cruise has backing from like the big car companies, right?
They have a
GM.
partnership with GM.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
yeah,
like
yeah.
$1 billion from SoftBank, $1 billion from Microsoft, a bunch of money from Honda.
Yeah.
What was it like? You've ridden in one, obviously, right?
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you like got in one? You know how this works. You know how those systems work with each other.
Yeah.
Was it? Can you walk us through what that was like?
So when I like did my first ride, it was while there were still drivers in the car and while the car still didn't work that super well. So you would just like go into the like trying to turn left and then it would just like hang out there for like a while. And being like, okay, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. Like,
But there's a driver in the driver's seat.
yes, and they're like kind of like waiting to see when they're gonna take over. So it's like it's crazy to just see like that it came from that to like they can drive
this
themselves
now,
around and they like work. And if someone's just kind of hanging out in the road, they'll like pass around them.
Are those level 5? No, I don't think so, right? Because then it wouldn't have the inputs.
Level 5 is like full autonomy, like
No user input.
no user, and like you don't know about the grid that you're like driving around on. Like Cruise has like very clear maps of the roads that it's using.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but they've been training on those roads for
Yeah.
God knows how long.
Did we watch a video of the two that were in a standoff? What was that?
I feel like I did see that.
Something happened where there was like two facing
playing
each other, and
chicken?
they're like, "What is he gonna do?"
Yeah. Who's gonna do? I think maybe it was Sanjay showing us that.
Yeah,
That's
it was,
funny.
It was that. Yeah.
That's funny.
There was. I have seen them so many times, Ardra, and every single time I'm just like, holy shit, that's crazy. It's such an uncanny, unnatural, because like we've been trained, we just our understanding of an automobile, there's a driver.
Yeah.
Right? And then you see an automobile
And it's got a steering wheel that's
and it's
turning
moving.
itself.
Yeah.
Like-
And you're just like, that is so weird. Yeah. But way safer than human drivers.
That's the point. That's the goal.
And how nice would it be to, and I'm not going to go on an anti-car tirade here, but how nice would it be to not have to have cars parked everywhere?
Yeah.
You sort of get the car when you need it, and then it just continues driving other people.
Yeah.
You know, you just like, you go outside anywhere, and there's just these gigantic metal machines with 4 tires parked everywhere.
Almost like a bus.
Yeah.
Could take you
Right,
where you
right.
need to go.
But like you don't really, I mean, here in New York, but you don't really see buses parked on the side of the road, you know? Like,
no, the parking thing is absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
The
but I
part
know
where I
it-
started to break down, like
Yeah.
in terms of like mission with cars, is like if we just had public transportation, we could solve a lot of these problems in a more efficient way.
Yeah.
But given the world that we have and the infrastructure that we have, I think it's good.
Most of America is not exactly a walkable city.
That's very
you
fair.
know?
Yeah.
And I definitely forget, we're in the New York or San Francisco bubble where I'm just like, oh, you could just, Trader Joe's is on that corner and your hair cutter is on that barber and your laundry's on that corner. Whereas like you're in, I don't know, Dallas. Although you didn't have a car in Dallas, but like
I managed to like make it work.
But Dallas is a huge city. I was in Denver a few weeks ago, and I asked Dylan. I was like, "Is this?" He was like, "You don't even want to ride a bike in this city. Not car friendly, not walking friendly." But yeah, so self-driving cars are a thing in San Francisco. Next time you're in San Francisco, literally just open your eyes and you'll probably see one. They are literally everywhere. Okay, Ardra, it's after 5. I usually have my watch on me, so I'm like I have this watch on me, but I don't know how to tell time. That's a joke. We're wrapping things up here. Welcome to the war on cars. I mean, I just feel like you don't need such a large vehicle to take yourself around. Like you have your seat, the passenger seat, 3 seats in the back, the trunk. It's like you're going 2 miles, you know, like you're gonna get in the car, burn gasoline, find a place to park. I mean, you know how fast it is with the bikes, you know, or skateboarder.
I want one more question.
Sure.
In Ardra, so cruise to Humane, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? Well, how did it happen?
It's kind of a fun story. So it was the beginning of the pandemic. I was like,
How beginning?
like first 2-3 months.
Okay. And you're in SF.
I was in SF. I had like finished a big project that I was working on at Cruise and was kind of looking for the next thing, but wasn't really finding it, and like had been looking around for jobs and had made friends with a neighbor down the street who I would like run by, and then we like would start chatting with each other. And it turned out he'd like worked in tech for a long time. And then I like got a call from him like Tuesday morning at like 9:30 or something, and it was like, "Hey, come to this coffee shop at 10." And I was like, okay, sure, whatever.
Wait, what coffee shop?
It was Linnea Cafe in the
I've heard of
Mission.
it.
Isn't that where we went with Sandre that one afternoon? Linnea?
Yeah.
I think it was, right? Does
Yep.
it have like a ramp in the front, or there was like that outdoor seating thing? What am I thinking of? I think it was Linnea.
think it is Linnea.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Anyway,
It's in, like industrial parky kind of part of.
I don't know. We don't really know San Francisco that well.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no.
Anyway, so I show up. He's like, "I have someone I want you to meet," and it turns out it's Patrick Gates, and it's May of 2020, and so the company is
really?
like 20 people at that point, and I just had a conversation about the way that technology consumes our attention, and which I think I've thought about a lot of attention for many years from like cognitive science, and just like being able to look at these things and feeling like I was in an industry surrounded by people who were profiting from just selling ads, and like that's what the greatest minds of our generation were working on doing, and just like kind of feeling alienated that people can be like, yeah, it sucks, but what are you gonna do? And it was really inspiring to meet someone who was like, this is what we're gonna do.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
And then you were like, all right, we're going. We're sending it.
Let's go.
Wow, sick. And you were already in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you had to move to New York. But we have an office here, so.
Me
you
too.
know, how do you feel about New York compared to San Francisco? Have you spent much time here?
A little bit, not a ton. It's cool. I mean, it's really fun being here.
Yeah.
There's so much energy, and just like walking around, and just like the lives of people just being there, and like so vibrant.
Yeah.
But I miss my trees and like touching the ground and my little backyard.
Yup. Where you can like go outside and there's not a jackhammer and a siren.
There's like birds.
You can hear birds chirping. What a concept. Well, I guess if you go to Central Park here, but anyway, I digress. Okay. Stream. I'm ending it here. I'm sure Ardra has other things to do aside from chatting on live, so thank you for your time.
It's been fun.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story. And the plan is to re-stream with every guest that I've had thus far after we come out of stealth, so then you can
Sweet.
like say what you work on, which is
The most fun.
what we're keeping
That
a
part's
secret.
the most fun.
And all this background will make total sense when people get to hear what you're working on.
I appreciate the people that hung out today. I know the times have been a little bit crazy, but the people at Humane are very hard at work building this thing, and I'm like, hey, you want to come hang out for an hour during the workday to come on the stream? So thank you, Ardra, and thanks to everyone else for hanging out this week. We have one final stream from New York tomorrow. Do we have a time for that, Colin?
I think it's 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 11 a.m.
Which is
Eastern.
8 a.m. Pacific, which is 4 p.m. GMT,
double check.
I think. I'll
Nope,
post
just kidding,
it.
2 p.m. Eastern.
2
Sorry.
p.m. Eastern. Okay, 2 p.m. Eastern. Happy Friday, Junior. Happy Friday, Junior, Becca. I feel like I've said that in Slack before, and people laughed, and I got it from you, Becca. So thank you. Glad to see you back in New York City. I'm sure SF misses you though. I'm gonna say something extremely controversial. I kind of miss San Francisco a little bit right now. Like I've been there for 6 months, and like, you know, I have like a life there in a sense, and there's so many Humane friends that I have now.
Yeah.
Like I was texting with Yanir before, I'm like, can't wait to get back and just like being in the office and stuff, but I'm glad that we have this office, you know, to jam from too. Okay, tomorrow, last stream from New York. Ardra, anything you want to end with here?
No, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, goodbye everyone. Have a great rest of your Thursday, Friday Junior. We'll see you tomorrow.